Hi, I'm Kiki. I'm here to talk to you about HR tech and recruitment, not the sexiest topic, not the techiest topic, but nonetheless important. As long as we don't have tech singularity yet, we need people to write our algorithms for us, and they're hard to find and hard to recruit. And the good news is that the tech industry has woken up to HR, and I'm the head of science at MindX. We're a small London-based startup, less than 15 people. But just about 3 weeks ago, we got acquired by HIREVUE, and they're a Sequoia Ventures-backed US startup. So that's obviously a really good success story for us personally, but I think it's good for the HR industry in general and HR tech. And I'll talk you through why I think that's so important for recruitment. So traditionally, your options for selecting the best people are either time-consuming or they're overly reliant on intuition, or both. So you can do things like interviews, which we know result in hiring people who are more like you. You can do things like screening CVs, which we know result in discrimination based on educational background, demographics. Or the third option is you can do personality testing and look for attributes that indicate someone would be a good employee. That's actually the scientifically most valid option of doing it. I don't just say that because I'm a psychometrician. But there's a problem with the market today, and most assessments are very clunky and difficult for clients to use. And that's why big companies, they use it because they kind of have the brand behind it to force people through it in the application process. I'm sure many of you have done it throughout your career at some point. Smaller companies often don't engage on it at all, and they resolve in things like stalking you on LinkedIn or relying on intuition for recruitment. And that's why MindX was founded, really, to change this. And we do this by looking at assessment specifically and trying to create a solution that is both engaging for candidates and quick, and at the same time scientifically valid. And we do it by turning assessments into games. That's the important bit. We turn assessments into games. We don't make games and then collect data. The focus is on it being assessments that are scientifically valid. And you might have noticed the commotion on the laptop. I would have liked to show you some games, but somehow Apple doesn't want to do it today, so that's okay. You can download the app and have a play yourself, have a look at them. But our games, you can see a few examples. We have some of them that are resemble classic IQ test items. So if you see the one with the shapes in the middle, you have to identify resembling shapes. But they're very adaptive. So if you get a level right, it gets a bit more difficult. If you get it wrong, it gets a bit more easy. And it's very quick to play. So there's no annoying experience or anything. It's like just a fun and engaging game to play. And then we've also started creating some games that measure more social attributes, and that's what you see the top left is. It's a chat bot messenger game that resembles situational judgment tests. So you're presented with everyday difficult client, difficult colleague scenarios, and you're given answers to reply. So quite different games, a nice portfolio that we're building up, and it's ever expanding. And the most important thing is it's quick. So you can play 3 or 4 games and we can do a cognitive ability assessment. But you might say, is that really enough to tell whether someone is going to be a good employee or not? And you're right. Obviously, games can't measure everything. We know from research that there's a few things that are important in identifying someone who would be a good employee, who's employable or who has potential. And that's that they need to be rewarding to deal with, so they need to have the skills to build a social network. They need to be able to do the job. That's cognitive ability. And they need to be willing to work hard. And some of these things are easy to measure with games, like cognitive ability. Other things require a different methodology. And that's where it's amazing that we've come together with HIREVUE, because they do video-based assessments, video-based interviews, and of course they use analytics on top of your interview to analyze your responses, and that works particularly well to measure things like social skills and drive. So you can see that with both together, you have 2 innovative assessment methods that can give you a really comprehensive profile of an applicant. And in practical terms for an assessment, what this might look like is you answer a few interview questions and record your answers, and that allows us to tell tells us something about your social skills and your drive, and then you play a few games that might tell us about your cognitive ability. And importantly, this experience is quicker, it's more modern, it's candidate-friendly, but it retains its scientific validity. And I think from a company's perspective, it's a lot easier to have one vendor that gives you all these options in one. And hopefully with this offering, you can now quantify your selection process quite easily. The nice thing about our app is also that you get candidate feedback. So if you have a go and try and play the games, it gives you a score and you can learn a little bit about yourself. So if you go on Google Play or the App Store, you can download the MindX app and you can have a look at the games and see how you do. Thank you very much. And feel free to get in touch, email me, go on Twitter. Thank you.